What would you do if the person you swore to protect, the woman you built a life with, was systematically dismantling it behind your back? And the first whisper of truth came from the innocent lips of your own child. The fluorescent glow of my phone screen at 2 a.m. illuminated a text message not from my wife Sarah, but from a number I didn't recognize, a message meant for her detailing a clandestine meeting at the Grand Hyatt on Michigan Avenue. Room 1407 tomorrow at 8. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of dread. Sarah was supposedly at her sister's in Ohio. The lie, a flimsy veil, was about to be torn away. And I knew with a chilling certainty that my world was about to shatter into a million irreparable pieces. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The humiliation hit me first, a tidal wave of nausea that threatened to drown me. Sarah, my Sarah, the woman I'd loved for 15 years, the mother of our 2 boys, Mark and Ethan, was a stranger. The text was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, a subtle shift in her behavior became glaringly obvious. Late nights became more frequent. Her phone was always face down, and her once warm touch grew cold, distant. She'd snap at me for trivial things, her eyes holding a contempt I'd never seen. I tried to talk, to bridge the growing chasm, but she'd just shrugged. You're imagining things. David, I'm just stressed with work. I wasn't imagining the expensive new jewelry she suddenly wore, or the receipts for lavish dinners at places like Alinea in Chicago, far too pricey for her girls' night out. I wasn't imagining the hushed phone calls she'd take in the garage, her voice dropping to a whisper when I approached. The man on the other end, I later learned, was her boss, Richard Thorne, a slick, arrogant shark from her marketing firm, who was married to with 3 kids. The irony was a bitter pill. Sarah became a master manipulator, twisting my concerns into accusations, making me feel like the paranoid one. You don't trust me, do you, David? After all these years, her voice would drip with feigned hurt. A performance worthy of an Oscar. She'd gaslight me, making me doubt my own sanity, while Richard, I imagined, felt untouchable, shielded by his wealth and position. I was breaking slowly, silently. The man who once believed in unconditional love was crumbling, replaced by a hollow shell of suspicion and despair. I'd sit in our living room, the silence deafening, the weight of her betrayal crushing me. But then, a small voice, my youngest son Ethan, then 7, innocently asked, Daddy, why does Mommy always go to Mr. Thorne's house when you're at work? He gives her flowers. The words hit me like a physical blow, not just a text, not just a receipt, but a direct, undeniable confirmation from the purest source. My son, my loyal, innocent son. That was the turning point. The emotional breakdown transformed into a cold, calculated resolve. The loyal husband died that day, and a strategist was born. I began to gather proof, meticulously. I installed discreet cameras in the house, not to catch her in the act, but to document her comings and goings, her hushed calls, her secretive demeanor. I hired a private investigator, a former police detective named Frank Miller, who worked out of a dingy office on a side street in downtown Los Angeles. Frank's reports were damning. Photos of Sarah and Richard entering and leaving a discreet apartment building in Santa Monica hand in hand. Late-night rendezvous at a secluded bar in Venice Beach, even a weekend getaway to a resort in Palm Springs, all under the guise of business trips. I cross-referenced everything with her credit card statements, her phone records, building an ironclad case. The legal traps were next. I consulted with the sharpest divorce attorney in the city, a woman known for her ruthless efficiency, Ms. Evelyn Reed. We discussed California's community property laws, spousal support, and the impact of infidelity on custody. I ensured all our joint assets were meticulously documented, every penny accounted for. Socially, I began to subtly distance myself from Sarah's friends, cultivating relationships with people who would later bear witness to her character or lack thereof. I even started a discreet online journal, detailing her emotional abuse and gaslighting, a record of her cruelty. The public exposure was orchestrated with surgical precision. On the day of Richard Thorne's company's annual charity gala, a high-profile event attended by the city's elite, I arranged for a local news crew. tipped off by an anonymous source, Frank Miller, to be present. As Richard took the stage to deliver his keynote speech, a large screen behind him, meant for a corporate presentation, suddenly flickered to life. It displayed a montage of the private investigators' photos, Sarah and Richard, intimately entwined, their faces unmistakable. The accompanying audio, a recording from one of Sarah's hushed calls, played for all to hear, her voice, laced with affection, discussing their future together, disparaging me. The room erupted. Richard froze, his face draining of color. Sarah, who was seated in the front row, let out a small, strangled cry, her carefully constructed facade crumbling in an instant. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Richard was fired on the spot, his reputation in tatters. Sarah faced a brutal divorce. Ms. Reed ensured she received minimal spousal support, citing her egregious infidelity and emotional distress caused. The custody battle was swift. Evidence of her deceit and neglect, especially Ethan's testimony about Mr. Thorne's house, swayed the judge. Her friends abandoned her, her career was over, and the social circles she so desperately craved slammed shut. She was completely ruined, a pariah. I saw her once, months later, walking alone down a desolate street in downtown Los Angeles, near the old Broadway theater. Her once vibrant eyes were dull, her shoulders slumped. She didn't see me, and I didn't acknowledge her. There was no triumph, no joy, just a profound emptiness. The revenge was complete, but the man who sought it was gone, replaced by a quiet, haunting echo.